Okay, everyone, second video of the day. It's never a dull time in the JPDL, especially as we get on to the middle of the season and people start to figure out where they're at. And this is when the trade market really starts to heat up. So honestly, this trade kind of surprised me. It kind of came from nowhere. I was just sitting back and watching some college football, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it from a league perspective in both of these teams. Um, so yeah, let's just get into it. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of this trade. I didn't know this trade was going on. Usually I like to be in the mix whenever a big player's on the move. So, not great on my part. Gotta be more tuned in. I'm my own harshest critic. You know how that goes. But let's talk about it. So Ethan gets Cooper Kupp and a 2024 second. Mills is 2024 second, which probably mid to early, I'll say. But we'll call it the 205. We'll call it the 205 right now. Um, and in return, Mills gets Adam Thielen, so cross him off. He's not even part of the deal. But Raheem Mostert and James Cook. So, who won the trade? That's the question that everyone is going to ask. And the interesting thing about Dynasty is that it's not redraft. I think in redraft, it's way more likely to have clear winners and clear losers in trade because in Dynasty, people have different windows for contending and different objectives that they're trying to, work towards. And I think this is actually one of those kind of examples where I don't think there was really a clear winner. I think each person kind of accomplished, in an interesting way what they were trying to. I guess I'll start with Ethan's side because this can, I guess, seem a little counterintuitive to someone who is clearly taking this year, wants Caleb Williams. So why would you grab Cooper Kupp? Well, a few things, right? He picks up a 2024 second, so he is getting draft capital in the trade, and he's moving older assets in order to get that done. So, picks are easier to move, they're more fluid, they don't have a name attached to them, they can't get hurt, right? So they are a safer long-term investment than a player. You would say Nick Chubb is a pretty safe asset, and then he gets hurt, right? I know he was older, but that's just an example. Like a pick can't get hurt. So unless a draft class completely falls apart, even then, you're still probably holding most of your value there. So I like picking up draft equity for older players when you can. And then you get Cooper Kupp. And, I think we would all say Cooper Kupp will not be on his team in 4 weeks. So I think that you just have to view this as a straight value play from Ethan's point of view. And we'll get into the value in a second. But, Cooper Kupp, he's an air guy. He's not playing right now. He is not going to get hurt for the next 3 weeks. And I think Cooper Kupp's value has actually surprisingly gone up since the beginning of the season, despite his injury, because there was systemic risk with the Rams that Sean McVay, we all heard he's checked out, right? Stafford, he's old. He doesn't have an offensive line. Does he really want to keep taking hits? And what we've seen so far is the Rams, they're going to keep playing. And I think a Rams team that in a weak NFC could potentially compete or is at least going to be trying to win games. I think that is very good for Cooper Kupp's end of season value. The negative would just be the hamstring, just because for older wide receivers, we saw this with Keenan Allen last year, for example. Just high re-injury rate, high not being 100%, not being their former selves. It just can nag for the whole season. So we'll see that. For Mills' side, picks up Adam Thielen. I think we would all say that's a pretty prototypical Mills player. What do I mean by Mills player? We don't have an exact definition like we do with social experiments now, but I would say a Mills player is not someone flashy. They're just kind of guys who they're like lunch pail guys, they're guys who are going to show up, drink a few beers after work. They're here to get their job done. Their volume plays mostly. They're either getting targets or they're getting a lot of carries. And they're not like the big name guys. They're not 80-yard touchdown guys. They're just like, hey, we're gonna beat you with a million paper cuts, a million 8-yard slants, a million 4-yard runs. That's a Mills player. It's more of a feel thing. And they're usually white. So that's Adam Thielen. Obviously, I don't think we can really factor him in too much. I doubt he'll ever make Mills's roster, although considering who he's been starting the last few weeks, maybe I don't know, maybe you do start him. But then Raheem Mostert and James Cook, these are the interesting ones. And I like Ethan trading these guys now because I think this is the high point that their value is ever going to be. Both of them coming off like 20-ish point weeks, Mostert a little more, but Mostert gets hurt every single year. He's going to get hurt, in a few weeks. And James Cook, I mean, yeah, he's young, but he's not really. I think he's never really going to be a true difference maker at the running back position. Like he's getting volume, but he's not getting the volume that you want. He's not getting goal line touches. Latavius Murray is playing a 2-minute drill. So I just don't think he ever will have that true game breaking ceiling upside. I think he's a pretty safe play and he has like a floor of a few receptions every game. So I know I'm talking this up from Ethan's perspective. Why I don't heat this from Mills is just that he's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. And you have to realize, like, he has to make the playoffs. And Mostert, until he gets hurt, James Cook right now, he just got 2 starters this week for nothing because Kupp isn't playing right now. So if these guys can, really put a band-aid and fix the sinking ship for next 3-4 weeks, I think that's a trade that you have to make. Especially you can tell yourself a story about James Cook's long-term upside. I wouldn't believe that story, but there's a story to be told there. I would agree with that at least. So I get it from Mills' perspective. So from a pure value though, who won the trade? I would say Ethan won this trade. I think a second round pick is probably more valuable than Raheem Mostert, and Cooper Kupp is more valuable than Adam Thielen and James Cook. So I would say from pure value, if I had to say it, I would say Ethan wins this trade. It's a really fun trade for a rebuilder to make, kind of outside the grain of what you would expect. So I like it. And I do understand it from Mills's perspective, though. Just getting him more options, especially over the next few weeks. So that is my breakdown of that trade. And do I think this shakes up the league at all? I think Ethan is going to be weaker the next few weeks. Definitely easier to beat. This is good news for Chris, who plays Ethan this week. So Chris has a better chance to win, get off the snide, get the 1 and 2. For Mills, I think this probably hurts his long-term ceiling upside, right? Like, as bad as things may have seemed like having Mahomes, Cooper Kupp, and Devontae Adams at full strength by the playoffs, like that's a dangerous team. So I think it's a little less dangerous, but no one cares about your upside in the playoffs if you don't make it there. So that would be my full summary on this trade. I really like it. I like when we get trade partners who you don't really expect to trade together. Me and Ahmad trading together, like whatever, James McCaskey and Will or something like that. Like those happen twice a week. So when we get like cool new, matchups and stuff like that, I do like it. Sign of a great league, as the commissioner, I just get, I get soft spot in my heart for stuff like this. So yeah, good trade overall. I wouldn't say anyone really lost it. And yeah, we'll check back in at the end of the year or midway through the year and see how these trades are going down. But excited for football tomorrow. Let's get it.